Delightful to see you, Princess.
You're a madman.
I've never been happier.
So, Wonder Woman. Not really my first choice, but it was suggested in the comments, and the case that was made was that, she is sort of the most removed from the Bat family. That's an interesting idea, to have someone that is sort of in the DC universe, but rather distant from the machinations of the Joker. I'm like, okay, no real connection to him. And that actually, I think, is a good basis for the discussion. But let's look at Wonder Woman as a whole, like how we really see Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, to me, might be one of the few, if any, actual quote-unquote warriors in the Justice League. Like, she's not only does she come from a warrior society, she sort of conducts herself as such at her best, but she also operates with a sort of ingrained sense of compassion. She's a very compassionate warrior. Her first action is usually to extend that hand in friendship and then go from there. Granted, we mostly see Wonder Woman as the combatant, someone who's sort of on the front lines in a way that Superman and Batman just aren't. Batman, because as capable as he is, he's better suited to be, leading from the back. In a tactical sense, Superman likes to be all over the place, mostly in the sky, but Wonder Woman, I think, has always been best, on the ground, leading the troops in that sort of way. So the question is, how do we view Wonder Woman on a better level? And I think one thing we think of when we look at Wonder Woman is this scene here. And this scene is a bit inaccurate because, well, if you read Wonder Woman in New 52, she had no rogues gallery to kill. Remember, the premise of New 52 was that superheroes had only been active for like 5 years, all right? And there was nothing in New 52, when that image came out, about Diana having any rogues to kill. I think maybe someone like Cersei came about. We had Strife. We had the Firstborn, the Goddess of Peace, Hera, Donna Troy for a bit. But none of these were enemies she killed. Like, the closest she ever got to killing anyone, off the top of my head, was Ares. And that was really because Ares needed her to kill him before the Firstborn killed her. So, yeah, but Diana's always been willing to extend compassion and understanding to just about any of her enemies. Hades, Nazis, and whatnot. Usually the idea of, look, there's always a better way, and it's a way of understanding and love and whatnot. This does not mean she has not killed. Her most notable kill, I think that is sort of echoed throughout DC Comics, is her killing of Maxwell Lord. And the context of this was Maxwell Lord had Superman under his control, and the only way to break that control and also stop him from killing Batman was to kill Maxwell Lord. Diana was like, okay, and she killed him. The idea, of course, is that, and I think is sort of pivotal to Diana's stance on killing, is that if there seems to be no other way, she'll do it. Where you see Batman and Superman are always characters who try to find another way, and I think Batman is the one most obsessed with finding another way. And I think it sort of speaks to sort of the nature of superheroes and how they sort of view themselves. So let's look at, say, other times Diana has sort of been pushed to sort of undergo what I would call the Peter Parker moment. So this is sort of reference to when Peter Parker came public with his identity as Spider-Man. The Kingpin had attempted to kill Aunt May. Aunt May survived. I think that was the one that led to One More Day. But he then goes to Kingpin in prison, beats the snot out of him, says, hey, you do this again, I'll kill you. Let's ignore the fact, the hypocrisy of this is that Peter is totally alright with Kingpin ruining other people's lives. Alright, but when it affects his life, he's then, willing to draw that line in the sand. And he still lets him off for that warning. This is a very human response. The idea is that if Spider-Man has some sort of moral standard, it's only held for Spider-Man. And when he becomes public with it, all of a sudden that line gets blurred a bit. In reality, no. He was just going to do that either way. He'd have done it as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. It didn't matter. But him being revealed as Peter Parker is what led to it. But what I want to talk about was this was sort of the moment when the costume comes off, both literally and metaphorically, and he becomes that person. For Batman, that can't happen, all right? If he's going to be Batman, ever to be Batman, he has to always hold up that standard. Diana has often broken that standard when the situation has sort of pushed her to it. The most notable one being when, in the story of the Circle, her mother's killed. And she sort of goes off the rails, and she's about to kill some soldiers, and they sort of are able to pull her back. This is sort of, again, a very human response. I'm not faulting Diana for this. This is something to note that there is a line in the sand where Diana's killing can become personal. Then we have something like, say, Injustice. And Injustice, when you think of Injustice Wonder Woman, I think you have to think of a very different kind of Wonder Woman. This is not the Wonder Woman we quote-unquote grew up with. It's not a Wonder Woman who is sort of, who maybe at one point did believe in extending that hand of peace and love and tolerance. But this is not her. She's sort of been radicalized or been sort of corrupted by her time in man's world. She's seen more extremes than she has middle grounds. And she uses Superman as sort of an excuse to sort of impose those sort of beliefs and restrictions. Granted, you could say the same thing for, say, New Frontier Wonder Woman, but New Frontier Wonder Woman is teaching these women who don't have any men to protect them to protect themselves. So there's a sort of middle ground for that. But overall, Injustice Diana is sort of the worst version of Diana across the board because she really, really wants to impose this sort of very, what could almost call draconian sense of justice, using Superman for it. That's actually, I think the worst part about it is she needs permission. At the same time, though, the sort of idea of permission can go a bit different, but we're going to put a pin in that. Let's talk about the sort of idea that the biggest deciding factor whether or not Diana would kill the Joker would really be dependent on Batman. And this isn't always going to be the case. Sometimes it'll be totally irrelevant to Batman's feelings. Like, no, it doesn't matter. We don't need to consult Batman for this. But Diana's been to Gotham a couple times, and she's seen the madness. Injustice Year Zero has her saying, like, we should probably kill the Joker. She wants to kill the Joker. Batman says no. In Sensation Comics, Diana does fill in for Batman at the behest of Oracle, because Batman's off doing something, and she sort of sees the kind of madhouse that Gotham City is, and she almost falls for the sort of madness that is Gotham City. She sort of sees that, hey, it's possible, and she sort of sees that Gotham City is not like other places, and she sort of sees the Joker as a personification of that, and that the only reason Batman can deal with a sort of obsessive personality is because he is also equally obsessive. So she is sort of aware of the sort of dangers that Gotham City can possess. In addition to her feelings for Batman, that can vary. For the most part, Bruce and Diana, at the tamest level, have a loving respect for each other. On the other half, those two just want to bone, and they want to have a family, and whatnot. Wonder Bat is possibly best ship. Alright, Batcat, nah, it's working my nerves. Talia, no. Anyway, but... And that wasn't just a thing in, say, the Justice League cartoon. That was a thing going into the Justice League of America run, I believe it was. And even that story, they had a story where they sort of were addressing their issues, their relationship with each other, how they felt. But because it's comics, they can't just talk to each other. They have to go into a machine, and Dan explores their subconscious. And one thing she sees is a reality where she and Batman are a crime-fighting duo, and Joker kills Batman, and in a fit of rage, she sort of kills the Joker, like violently kills the Joker, which is what the Joker wants. Joker wants you to snap, and he wants whatever he does, or who he is, to fundamentally change who you are. And she says, my love has died, and so have I. We'll see this again, in the pages of Batman Beyond 2.0, we find out that Wonder Woman had been in the Justice Lord's Earth, and she'd had a relationship with Lord Batman, and he was killed in a plot by Lord Superman, and I guess it's Lord Wonder Woman? Lady Wonder Woman? I think Lady Wonder Woman is just kind of weird with that name, Wonder Woman. But anyway, Wonder Woman kills Lord Batman, and in a fit of rage, she kills Wonder Woman, her Justice Lord counterpart, with the lasso of truth, and it disintegrates. We'll see this happen again in Wonder Woman Dead Earth, when, due to a whole series of issues involving Themyscira and the government, leading to some nukes, Wonder Woman, in a fit of rage, kills Superman, and sort of helps with the apocalypse. Dead Earth is a really good, and I think really fun, dark story. But whatever. Ultimately, what we're seeing there is that Wonder Woman has her limits, and when those limits fall, she does cease to become Wonder Woman. She becomes Diana. And that's an interesting question, really, as to who Diana is in relation to Wonder Woman. Because unlike other superheroes, Wonder Woman was a means to an end of her sort of getting to leave man's world, leave Themyscira. Whereas everyone else has sort of created their identity in a response to some event in their life that really defined them. And maybe we're going to argue that Steve Trevor landing, crash landing on Themyscira was what defined her, but it's sort of weird. Discussion for another time, really. So I think the question is, could Diana kill Wonder Woman? Not that she has the capability, she definitely does. But I think when we say that she's the most removed from it, I think we're saying is that she doesn't have any of that drama or personal trauma associated with, dealing with the Joker that would lead her to killing him in that sort of fit of rage or intense emotion. Wonder Woman might be the only person in the Justice League, maybe Jon Stewart, who can say, you know what? Enough's enough. All right? I'm going to kill you. All right? But I think she won't do it because, not just out of the nature of comic books, because we're going to take out the nature of comics for this. I think she doesn't do it because she believes that Batman might be the one person that can, prove the Joker wrong. That this is a different battle on a different level. But if Batman finds himself at that crossroads where he feels like, he can't just keep containing the Joker, he's sort of tired, he doesn't know what to do, Diana may ask him, do you want me to kill the Joker? And I think she'll do it. I think she'll do it. Would he say yes? I think he wouldn't. I think he would be very low to it. Like the day he asked someone to kill the Joker would be the day he probably would retire. All right? But I think hearing him, say all that, even if he's not saying that he wants someone to kill the Joker, but seeing him in that state, Diana might make that decision unilaterally on her own. She might decide, he's doing this to my best friend. He's doing this to the man I love. So, no, I'm going to kill the Joker. And I think she'll be able to do it in the most compassionate way possible. She'll try the lasso of truth first to try to figure out exactly what is with the Joker, what's going on. And when she sees that he's just totally remorseful, totally with no remorse, totally lacking any empathy or compassion, let alone regret for anything he's done, she'll make the decision, and I believe she'll do it dispassionately. She'll make the decision to kill the Joker. At least that's my take on it. It's sort of weird how one looks at Wonder Woman, because I think out of all the heroes, she's been the most inconsistently handled. So it's very hard to sort of pin down exactly won't be the defining moment. But also because she's so removed from the Joker and the Batman, mythos to that extent, that it's to her benefit, but also to her detriment in this discussion. But overall, I think that's I think it's the best we could go with for Wonder Woman. So what do you think? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who do you think should kill the Joker? Can't be Batman. Only rule. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll catch you all later. This is Bug and Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.